Richard Calloway, CEO of Calloway International, leaned back in his leather chair and exhaled. He had just finished reviewing documents that could make or break his empire. His tie was loose, his shirt collar unbuttoned, but his eyes were sharp, predatory, as though he carried the whole city's weight and didn't mind it. At the desk across from him sat Michael Lane, his longtime assistant. Michael had been with him for nearly a decade, a man in his mid-30s with neat brown hair, an orderly desk, and the kind of quiet efficiency that bosses rarely noticed but relied upon like oxygen. Richard stood, gathering the files, ready to leave. "Michael, call the car up. I need to be downtown first thing in the morning." Michael smiled faintly, but didn't move. "About that, Richard," he said softly. "We won't be leaving tonight." Richard frowned. "What?" Michael stood, his hand sliding into his pocket. He pulled out a small black device, the office's security override key. He held it up between two fingers, letting the faint light reflect on its surface. "The doors are locked," Michael said. "The elevators are frozen. Phones are jammed. It's just you and me now." Richard narrowed his eyes, scanning the room as if to find the joke. "Michael, you've been working too many hours. Hand me that key and stop wasting time." But Michael didn't move. His face had changed. The polite, quiet assistant was gone, replaced with something colder, sharper. 10 years, Richard. 10 years of watching you climb higher while stepping on everyone else. 10 years of covering up your messes, hiding your secrets, shredding the documents you didn't want anyone to see. Do you think I forgot all of it? Richard's jaw tightened. "You're drunk," he muttered, but his voice lacked conviction. Michael shook his head slowly. "No, I'm wide awake, and tonight, so will you be." Richard tried to move toward the door, but the lock clicked the moment he touched it. Steel shutters slid down over the glass panels with a mechanical hiss. They were sealed in. Richard turned back, anger sparking in his eyes. "Do you realize what you're doing? You're finished, Michael. When this is over, I'll bury you." Michael walked toward the window, hands behind his back, staring at the glittering skyline. "That's the thing, Richard. You can't bury someone who's already dead inside. You've been killing me for years. Every order you barked, every lie I typed out for you, every bribe you ordered me to deliver in neat little envelopes. And do you know what the worst part was? You made me complicit. I carry your sins like they're mine." Richard's lips curled in disdain. "You've benefited from those sins. You live in a nice condo. You wear the suits I paid for. Don't act like some martyr now." Michael turned, his expression tightening into something fierce. "A martyr? No, but I am the one holding the blade tonight." For a moment, silence pressed down on them. The city glowed beyond the glass like a sea of stars, but inside the air grew heavy, suffocating. Richard walked slowly back to his desk, placing both hands on the surface. His voice was calm, but underneath it was the tremor of a caged predator. "What do you want, Michael? Money? A promotion? To sit in this chair?" Michael let out a low laugh, bitter and cracked. "This chair. This prison you call power. I wouldn't take it if you begged me. No, Richard. What I want is truth. Tonight, you tell me the truth about every deal, every crime, every life you've destroyed. And when I have it all, maybe, I'll decide if you deserve to leave this office alive." Richard's eyes flicked to the phone on his desk. Slowly, subtly, his fingers inched toward it. Michael's voice cut through the silence like a knife. "Don't." Richard froze. Michael lifted his hand. A small handgun gleamed under the fluorescent light. He held it steady, not like a novice but like someone who had rehearsed this moment countless times. The two men stared at each other, the city's heartbeat echoing faintly through the glass. 10 years, Michael whispered. 10 years of silence. Tonight, I finally speak. Richard sat down again, his face unreadable, his mind calculating. He had built an empire on strategy, on manipulating men weaker than him. But this was different. Michael was no longer the quiet assistant in the corner. He was the executioner holding the clock. Minutes dragged into hours. The office became a battlefield without bullets, a place where every word was a weapon. Richard tried persuasion, anger, even mockery, but Michael countered with revelations. He listed names, dates, hidden accounts, and bribes Richard thought had vanished into the void. Each word was a nail in the coffin. At one point, Richard leaned forward, his voice sharp. "If you think anyone will believe you, you're a fool. I'll spin this so fast, you'll look like a madman." Michael smiled faintly, pulling out his phone. He turned the screen toward Richard. The red circle glowed. Recording. "Every word you've spoken tonight is already saved, Richard. By morning, the world will know who you really are." For the first time, Richard's mask cracked. Sweat trickled down his temple. His empire, his legacy, was crumbling inside this locked office. And Michael just stood there, calm, steady, as though he had been waiting his whole life for this night. The hum of the city below continued, unaware of the storm brewing inside the skyscraper. But in that office, time felt suspended. Two men locked in a war of truth and survival, with only one way the night could end. Because sometimes the most dangerous prison isn't made of bars. It's built from secrets, and tonight those secrets had nowhere left to hide.